Hi everyone and welcome to Social Networks and Online Business. This webinar will be about basically that, how to use social networks and how to grow our business outside of the offline world. I mean in the online using all the resources we have right now like Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. Not only that, we will speak about all the different tools we can find. This is also maybe some kind of theoretical course. So if you want some examples or you want to discuss anything about this course, just stop me, ask me, so maybe I can help you better if you ask specific questions. Well, first of all, this is the rules of participation. But as I said, you can stop me whenever you want. You can raise your hand. You can use the chat to ask any question, and I will try to answer whatever I can. Okay. And before the beginning, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Alex Puig, and I'm a tech entrepreneur. I don't know exactly what a tech entrepreneur is, but the only thing I know is that I do things. And while doing things, I've learned a lot of lessons about online business. Okay. First lesson that I've learned so far, and I think it's the most important lesson I've learned, is that your client is all around the world. You have to stop thinking about your local customers. You have to stop thinking about what's around you, and you have to start thinking globally. So digital has become crucial in the evolution of all our business because we can show our business to our clients and their products and their brands all around the world. I've been seeing a big change in that way because at the beginning the typical client we had, it was people that they want to go online. So they were typical business like shops, like all kind of people selling things in the real world that they wanted to go online. And now the thing's changing. I think more new ventures are opening just based on online directly without having even a static place or even having an office together. So I've been seeing a lot of changes. And of course, one part of this digital transformation that's completely disintermediating business models, it's e-commerce. We will talk about e-commerce, I think, a lot because it's quite interesting. Maybe only with e-commerce we could have this whole webinar for 2 hours. So I will try to go on the basics, debate about the tools you can use, but we won't go deeply inside e-commerce. Basically, I'm from Barcelona, but now I can sell my products everywhere around the world thanks to e-commerce and social networks. So we have two basic things: e-commerce on one side, that's our shop, the typical shop, and then the social network. And this will be our ads, our publicity, the way we spread the word about our products to the world. Okay. And yes, we can find almost everything online. And if you don't believe me, just try it. Try to find almost any product, and you will find it on the internet. Everything you can be sold on internet. Okay. Beginning e-commerce and platforms. Okay. Basically, there's this new way of doing business that's selling your products online, offline. That's the way that we were doing it so far. But we want to expand your market via social networks, as we say. It's like come and visit the shop, come to us, and e-commerce. Our products are available for everyone around the globe. That takes a lot of difficulties because so far we only had to have our shop, and then when a client came to a shop, we could sell that directly. But now we have to send these items, these products, and we have to deal with a lot of legal stuff about different taxes all around the world. And that's also something that you have to learn about. There's a new law coming in Europe starting in January, I think January 1st, that says that everything that you sell, you will have to say it with the laws of your client. It means that everything you sell, it's like you are selling in the country of the people that's buying to you the product. It means applying their taxes and applying the laws. And that will make everything a little bit more complicated for small businesses trying to go to the world, to go wide with their products. Okay. If you sell your product just online, and as I said, that's the new trend. That's almost what almost everyone is doing. you have less costs. And then we need somewhere to talk about our brand. We need somewhere to spread the word about what we're doing, to marketing basically. And I think the best place it's social networks. And when we do that, we always have a question in mind that if our product will fit the market. Okay, we can have a product always, but it's not as easy as selling the product. Having a product and thinking that's a good idea, it doesn't mean that the market is going to accept the product, it's going to buy that product. And I think that I've learned in during my my lifetime is that usually clients, they lie. If you ask someone if they are going to buy a product, they usually say yes. They usually say that they will like it. But from there to actually buy your product, to actually putting money on your product, that's like a big difference. Once I was in a conference where the speaker was asking all the people if they would buy their book. He was writing a book, and everybody was saying yes. Everybody was cheering the speaker like, okay, of course, if you buy something, we will buy it because you're really an amazing speaker. The fact is the speaker just asked someone to actually really pay for that. So it's give me your credit card, so you will pay right now for that. And that's like a completely different story. As I said before, people are lying. So one thing you can do is like go to platforms like Indiegogo, where you can put over there your product and see if someone is willing to pay for that. It's not only that. That's a lot of new platforms, like for example Kickstarter, or this kind of platforms where you can say, okay, I want to build this and I want you to back this product. That means that you are buying the first prototypes of the product. So if I can sell at least 1,000 of my prototypes, I will build these prototypes and not the other way. That's a perfect match for your business plan, because it means that you are validating if the people is gonna really actually buy what you're selling. Okay, if you want to sell something, you can build the platform by yourself, but I would not recommend that. And you can use one of the many platforms, e-commerce platforms that are available on the market. I will talk about some of them. For example, BigCommerce, if you know it, it's really easy to use. It has many templates and a lot of tools that they are leading the e-commerce market right now. They have a monthly fee, so you pay by in a monthly basis. Also, BigCarl, also a monthly fee, but you can have a free account. Okay, one good thing about BigCarl is that you can build your e-commerce like really quick. In no time, you will have your e-commerce up and running. Okay. Usually, it's a platform for crafties because they really care about design, so it's really beautiful. Shopify, that's one of the big ones because it's really better, much better. It has a much better variety of professional online store themes. Themes, I will talk a lot about themes, but one thing is the platform, and then the other one is the look and feel of the platform. So once you have a platform where you can sell things, you can personalize it using themes. Usually, for example, themes can go from $15 to $60, $70. So they're really not expensive, and they're really easy to use. Okay. Back to Shopify. Another thing that having an e-commerce doesn't mean that you have a payment platform. You have to install a different payment platform for your e-commerce. Like for example, PayPal. There's a lot of them. Stripe, Braintree. You can choose, and usually you have a lot of modules that you can install in the platform. Okay. Shopify's payment filter is an excellent tool, by the way. So you don't have to fumble around with external payment gateways providers. So, but Shopify is I think it's the only one that provides that kind of tool. Magento, it's the biggest one. And also it's the oldest one. It's a free platform. It's open source. That means that you can take it, download it, and use it in your server without paying $1. But that means that you need a developer and probably a designer. It's not easy to adapt to the CMS that's inside Magento. They have a lot of modules, they have a lot of apps, so it's like they have a lot of everything, but it's not easy to use. Another thing is that from the developer's point of view, it's not really the best software you can use. But they are really big, they are really reliable, they really work fine. and I think a lot of people today they're using that. And finally, also PrestaShop. It's also a briefly platform with a lot of templates, but also you will need a developer to install it and maybe a designer to improve it, because you have to use your brand, your colors. Also, it's a slow adaptation to the CMS, so you have to be careful about that. Then there's a different kind of platform that's also a social site in the same place. Etsy. Etsy, that's not really the place where you can build and personalize your e-commerce site, but basically it's a place where you can sell things. Usually Etsy is used to buy and sell handmade or vintage items. For example, our supplies are on Etsy, and I think it's one of the most of the world's biggest handmade marketplace. Also, they have a really amazing mobile app, so you can use it from your mobile phone, and you can check, browse between a lot of people. They also have a really vibrant community with 30 million buyers and creative business in the platform. So that's really an amazing place if you want to grow your brand, because almost all the people is there, people that's really willing to buy this kind of product. Okay, and they have, of course, a lot of promotional tools for you to include, to add your products and to sell it. Okay, no memberships with Etsy, but it costs 20 cents of dollar to list an item for a month. That's not too much, or until it sells, of course. And once you sell it, even they collect a 3.5% fee on the sales price. Good thing about Etsy, but it's that they already have the users, so you don't have to provide a really amazing effort to attract users to the e-commerce. Because building an e-commerce, it's not that hard. Maybe the budget you need to build a beautiful e-commerce today, it's quite low. So you can have this platform running, and you can start selling online maybe tomorrow if you want to. That's not the difficult part. I think the difficult part is attracting people to see what you're selling and actually buying what you're doing. I think we won't talk about this in the webinar, but usually in e-commerce we try to focus on two topics. One is, of course, getting traffic, getting people watching seeing your website, and the other one is, once the people on your website, converting these visitors to buyers. That's a completely different story. There are even specialists around the world that they only care about that, about converting visitors to buyers. They even build a funnel for you where you can see where all the people that's coming to your website, they stop before buying anything. And you have to be careful about that. Building a website, an e-commerce site, wherever, it's quite cheap. It's not difficult at all, but selling, it's like an art. So you have to know a lot of different things. You have to know about conversion. You have to know about Google Analytics to see where the people is going. You have to be able to attract all these people to your website, and that's not easy. Okay? And of course, you have a lot of platforms. How to choose the correct platform, because there's a lot of them. And once you choose your platform, it's not easy to switch between different platforms. As I said, for example, Magento, that's the biggest one. That's the one that everyone used to use like 2 or 3, 4 years ago. And now it's really hard for them to change. Even some of the platforms I've been talking about, they are really better. BigCommerce, for example, or BigCarl, they are really good, but it's not easy to change, to migrate from one to the other. I think it's even expensive to migrate from a platform to another than building a new platform. But that's not possible because you have all the historic of your sales, so you have all your clients. It's not really a good idea. Okay. So back to the topic: how to choose the correct platform. Okay. I will focus on some things. For example, stock size. The size of your stock, it matters. For example, because when you're browsing a store platform you use, make sure you're paying the smallest amount of money for the service that you require. So make it as small as the beginning as possible. Even if you not all your stock it's available online, that's okay. We've been doing some tests with some clients, and they have their offline shop, the place, and they wanted to have all their stock online, and we decided not to. We just put it online the stock that could be sold and could be sent also. So we did that. We just paid the smallest amount of money to make what they call a minimum viable product, something small that really converts. Once there, you can decide if you want to grow or not. As you will see, depending on the stock size, you will choose a platform that it can handle thousands of items, like for example Magento or PrestaShop, or you will go to something more beautiful, more careful about the design, like for example Big Carol. That's up to you. Even so, almost all the platforms, they allow you to add thousands of items. If that's necessary. Okay, and then what are you selling? It's digital or physical? And this is always the question to ask. What are you selling, digital or physical goods? It makes all the difference when you're thinking about shipping costs and the complexity in the website. It's not the same like selling a t-shirt where all you have is to put the size, put the color, for example, and okay, the number of items you want to buy, and that's it, and go on. Or you, for example, you are selling a PDF, or you are selling videos. So you have to look for platforms that suit your product needs. Another thing, as I said before, the payment method. You have to be really careful about that. If you got issues using PayPal, even it's the most easy and popular payment processor, and I will be honest, I really don't like PayPal too much. It's too complicated and they're really not good. But anyway, you will need to look into making arrangements because not all e-commerce platforms, they really like third-party payment processors. If you have any issue with that, as I said, I will come back here. Use Shopify. Maybe it's one of the symbols around. And also, I think they accept Bitcoins right now even more, so they are good at that. So, some other bullets, but that's important. You have to be careful about if you want to host yourself the platform, or you want someone else, a third party, to host it. Okay. As I said before, for example, Magento, even it's the widest spread platform right now, you can download it and install it on your own servers. That means that the database is yours, you have access to the database, you can do the backups, and everything is yours. So if you got a good developer, you can do whatever you want with that database because it belongs to you. If you use a hosted solution, like for example Shopify can do that, then it's not really yours. Even they have backups and it's safe, of course, and I have nothing to say wrong about them, but it's like two completely different stories, and depending on the security you want to have on the data that you are moving, like for example your clients, you will choose one or the other. If you choose, for example, having hosted in your own platform, in your own servers, of course you will need a sysadmin, someone to check the servers regularly, to be careful about security issues. But then at least you'll be sure that all your information belongs to you. Okay, payment plan, because some payments, some plans of these platforms are really not expensive at the beginning, but if you grow too much, maybe that could be a problem. Okay. Please always take a look at the different pricings of the different platforms before choosing. Okay. Look for opportunities to pay monthly amounts instead of relying on or giving a small percentage of a sale. Because I prefer to pay for the service than instead of paying a percentage. Because depending on the sales, if you're selling something that's really expensive, it's maybe will be too much. So you'll have to do the figures about that. Okay. And as I said before, maybe I would suggest going with Shopify first because it's hosted, so they care about everything. If you don't have any developer or any sysadmin in your team, that's maybe the best thing to do. And it provides a transparent experience of how online shopping works for the merchant and the customer. So you can see everything how it's working from inside. That's good enough. Okay, social networking for creatives. That means basically that you're on your own. You have a product that you want to sell online. You also set up a platform to sell it. You decide if you want to have your Magento. You have your you put it on Etsy or whatever other platform you can sell, or even you can use, sometimes there's people that they use WordPress directly. There's even a module for WordPress that's called, a plugin for WordPress that's called WooCommerce. That's good enough, and you can use that also. So you have different ways and approaches for that. But once you have this platform, you have everything, you have your design, you have to attract people to that. So there's a lot of places or ways of selling things. For example, if you want to sell your own products like art, craft, fashion, wherever, maybe the best platforms are Etsy, of course, as I said before, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. I'm not sure if Twitter, they change a lot, because right now you can also publish some pictures on that, and it's becoming more visual than before. Pinterest, maybe it's one of the best places to sell goods. Yeah, and more if you are art, craft, and fashion, because, well, most of the people in Pinterest, basically, they're women. That's good to know, but you can add price to the pictures you add. You can add the direct link to your e-commerce, so they can sell your goods, and even all the users of Pinterest, they can share and reshare and use Pinterest to spread your pictures all around the website. Usually, with different clients we focus in Instagram, Facebook, basically. But that depends also on who's the. I really don't like the word community manager, because it's like something to. I don't believe in that. But I believe in people showing their passion for what they're doing, and that's also people who happen to understand social networks. So the people that's running, that's in charge of the social networks, they really like what they're doing. They know how to do some good pictures of your products, and they have the empathy to connect with your clients. Then even Facebook or Instagram or Twitter will be really good platforms for marketing. Okay. Basically, if what you do, it's something really specific. There are some of the platforms that the objective is to be a platform for you, basically a place to show your talent. Like, for example, Behance for designers, there's Dribbble, LinkedIn for professionals. I added here Facebook because from time to time I see people using Facebook to show their talent, and maybe it works. And even for example, we have some designers who are using Facebook, and it's really working well for them. As I said before, it depends on the people who's in charge of the social networks. And if you what you want to do is like networking, branding, then you can go to Twitter, LinkedIn. And the platform that lately we are using a lot, it's like Meetup, because that's really a good marketing opportunity, using different meetups to show your product for a different kind of, for example, attracting YouTubers, attracting specialists on your sector and what you're doing, and doing these meetings with your clients directly. Small, always small. Don't think big. Just think about 10, maybe 20 people around a table with a coffee or maybe a beer, discussing about your product. That for you, it's quite amazing, because you have your buyers. They are really happy with that, and also you have direct feedback of what they need or what they like. Okay, so we see that social media is an excellent tool for artists. Okay, it allows you to have this platform to show your talent to all of the world. Okay, then you can do different things. For example, a virtual gallery, whether on Pinterest, Facebook, Google+, Picasa, YouTube. By the way, if as I said before, it depends on the people that's in charge of the channel, but there's a lot of people doing a lot of noise on YouTube, and for sure with fashion, for example. There's some YouTubers that they're talking about fashion, that they're doing really well. And when I say doing really well, I mean they have millions of subscribers to their channel. So each one of the videos that they are putting on YouTube, it gets a lot of visits, a lot of views, like for example 20 million, something like that. So that's maybe one of the most amazing channels to use if you're in the fashion world. And the good thing is that social media is built for images and also for videos, because people, it's really visual. They like to see what they want to buy. It's not like getting a text describing a t-shirt, but watching the t-shirt. It's a completely different story. So one of the things you can do is like consider setting up your own online gallery through one of these services instead of hiding on your proprietary website. As I said, if you have your proprietary website, it's not easy to attract people to there. And if you use one of these platforms, it's easier to get the people because it's already there. It's like, for example, having you want to have a new shop, offline, I mean, and you can have it, you can put it on your street, like inside your building maybe, or you can go to a big mall and put your shop over there. Of course, if you put it in a mall, you will have a lot of people, okay? You always have to give people the chance to find, share, and comment on your work. That means even in your site, it's good to have always the share buttons in each of the pictures in your gallery. So be careful and don't overuse also social networks. It's good to be on social networks, but you don't have to be on all of them. The one question I think you have to make yourself is, what are you good at? For example, if you're good at taking photos and pictures of your products, maybe that's considered being on Pinterest and Instagram, for example, or Facebook. But of course, if you're really a nice people with good looking and you're really good at talking to people, maybe you can go to YouTube, for example. Okay. As I said before, you can have a virtual gallery. You can have killer events. Okay. It's like art-centered events where your product and your fans are in the center of everything. Okay, these events can be online or even gallery showing or showrooms. There's a lot of creative ways to use events and spread the word about the events in the different social media. Even of course we talk about Meetup, but you can talk about your events even on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever you want to have them. Also, you can use Google Hangouts, for example, if you want to have events on the network online. So you can gather with a lot of people in the same place, everyone with their webcam, and discuss about your product. And of course, you can have webinars, but that's, I think, different story. But you can do teaching, because one of the best ways to sell anything at all, it's basically if they see you using it. If they see how you use your own product. I mean, for example, in fashion, they can use you can teach how to combine the different items that you are selling. For example, if you are selling something about food, for example, you can do cooking classes where you teach people how to better use your product. Okay, you have to be really proud about your skills and share some of your skills with all the people. As I said before, you can use Google Hangouts, or even you can have a channel on YouTube to teach people tips and techniques to your fans. And always, 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 please answer how to questions in comment section. You have to be really interactive with all your fans and all, because we're talking about fans, but basically they are buying. They are buying what we're selling. Even it's visits, it's a PDF, or even it's a car. Whatever it is, your fans are also the people that's buying your product. And of course, one of the things that I've heard a lot about social media is social media is not about selling. And then they say like a lot of different stories about social media. That's not. It's networking, it's engaging. But all of this finally comes for a single thing, that's selling. Everyone has to make a living. So we have to be really aware that everything that we are doing, finally, it's to make money. Artists need to make money, and your fans aren't supposed to you asking. Okay. So it's not about the hard sell. Of course, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of branding, marketing, and you have to share and listen and give first. But finally, in the end, remember that what's important is to sell. I will go back to something that I said before. That's remember that having a tech guy in your team will always help, because the tech guy, one of the things that he can do it's set up, of course, your platform to sell, but also set up a path, a way for you to see the impact of all your actions in social media. Because one of the things that you want to do is, for example, if you publish a video on YouTube explaining how your product works, then you will add a link to your product. And basically you want to know how many people they bought your product using, and they are coming from the video you made. You have to be really analytic into that, because we want to know how can we monetize all the efforts we do on social sites. We will spend a lot of time in doing social networking. We will spend a lot of time connecting with people, networking, and doing all this kind. But we need to know if it makes sense for us to do that. Maybe we can have a lot of friends. Maybe we will get known. We will get gurus, famous, or wherever. But it doesn't mean that nobody at all is buying our product. So you have to relate those two things. You have to relate every tweet you do, every post you do on Facebook, every picture on Instagram. You have to relate that with the final sale on your website. Other ways, maybe you're losing your time, or you're doing it wrong and you don't even know that. Okay, that's the typical content, how do you say that, picture. But I think it's important to know that. When it comes to media, we have like these three main circles, these three main areas that we have to know about. Okay, you have earned media, paid media, and owned media. And everything, of course, it's media, but it differs in the way we plan our strategy on these three different areas. Okay, when we are talking about earned media, it means all the things that we earn by our actions. So it's people talking about us, mentions, shares, reports, reviews, everything that everyone is doing in reaction to our actions. Okay. Paid media, of course, it's advertising, pay-per-click, display, retargeting, paid influencers, all the things they have to pay to get some promotion. Okay, and finally we have the own media. That's ours. That's what we do. It's our blog, our website, our mobile site, our social media channels, our Pinterest, our wherever. What's important is to find the balance between the three areas, because, for example, if we do a lot of paid media and we attract a lot of people to our website, it doesn't mean that they will stay in our website, because maybe we don't have enough information for them. Okay, and of course, if we don't have enough information, it's really quite hard to get earned media, mentions talking about us, because people is not talking about our ads or what we pay to be visible in internet. Okay, look at the intersections between the 3 points. Important, for example, between the earned media and the owned media, it's SEO and brand content. Okay, it's really important for SEO, because Google, for example, they take into account the number of retweets, the number of shares, and all this kind of information is important. So if we want to be found on different search engines like Google, it's important to have both. Okay, and between paid and owned, that's also a good place to get more exposure. If you grow both and you grow the intersection of these both, you will get more, basically more business to your website, and that's what you want. Okay, the perfect place, of course, is in the middle. You have to have leverage, own, earn, and pay media. That's the perfect place for a comprehensive marketing strategy. Okay, each element is an important part of the whole, and all contribute to a completed digital marketing strategy. So be careful about all three of them. Okay. Well, as I said, but here you have it written, so it's like a resume. It's like owned media is the content that your brand has complete control over, such like websites, blogs. Okay. Owned media initiatives typically target to your brand's existing community and current customers. So you know your customers, you know your target, and you build content for them. Okay. Paid media, a good way to promote content in order to drive earned media, as well as their traffic to own media properties. Social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, they offer advertising, so you can use that advertising and it works pretty well. Yeah, another way to gain more exposure for your content is to pay influencers to tweet or share your links. That's usually done. See, if you do that, we've done that before, and you have to be really picky about those influencers, because even one people that's on Twitter, they have these 2,000, 200,000 followers or whatever. If those followers, they really don't care about a product, it doesn't make sense to pay those influencers. So you really have to know your target, and you have to be really picky and choose only influencers whose target is also exactly the same as ours, okay? Also in advertising, you can use the retargeting, pay-per-click, display ads, a lot of things. Okay, here media, of course, it's a natural result of public media relations, of course. Ad campaigns, events, and all the content you can create within your own media channels. I really like events, live events, because that's maybe where the people it's more active. They react to this event, like tweeting about us, sharing pictures, because it's not people all alone by themselves in their homes watching what we are doing, but it's people sharing experience all together. So they work pretty well. I think you've heard that a lot of times, but I have to really say it again, that content is king. But first, we need to set a strategy. It doesn't work the way that, okay, I'm good at doing content, that's enough. No, you have to set a strategy. Because at the end, content, it's the only point of connection between you and your customers. So one of the things that you have to build is trust. Okay? And users or consumers, they are really expecting a very personal and customized experience. It's not like some years ago where all you have to do is like push a lot of data and that's enough. Right now they want this personal and customized experience, okay? So which just comes down to creating those precious moments of truth for a customer. I really like this phrase, those precious moments of truth. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, okay? So you have to plan. You have to plan your content during the month, year, of course, and of course during the week. Always also leave some space for imagination, because things changes. And maybe one of the latest trends in marketing is the real-time marketing. It's having a team of people waiting for something to happen to react to that, and also publishing something in that same moment that relates to this specific moment of time. Okay? So, some ideas I can give you is, first of all, and I think it's one of the most important, is give your audience the content they want. Because there's maybe a discussion about if content is king or user is king, because they are really both related. But if you're really doing good, you will give the content, the audience the content they want. And that means you really know your audience. If you really know your audience, you really know your customers, you can establish really an empathy channel with them. And that's the easiest way for them to buy the things you're doing, okay? For example, when it comes to content, everyone thinks about text, and that's not the truth. Because social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, even Etsy, they have ushered in visual. 90% of the information transmitted in the brain is visual. So visuals, they're really processed faster, they get really fast into our brain, and they generate emotions. And emotions are the base for people to buy things, okay? Some of the things that we just found out with our experience is that posts with visuals receive 94% more page visits and engagement than those without, even with the same takes, because you can express ideas really quickly with visuals in a snapshot. They see what you mean. So social is content's best friend, but if it's visual, it's really better. Commerce and content can coexist. And we are back to the strategy, because strategy, it means just that. How do you relate the content on the commerce? How do you create content that really can drive traffic and finally sales to your commerce? One of the things about content, for example, is that nobody cares too much about its orphan images. And orphan images are those found on the internet that have no connection to the artist. So you, as an artist, you as someone that's selling your product on internet, what can you do? I think it's important to
to make your policy known. So be sure to have a copyright page that's linked on all pages of your website and social media accounts. So you have to be clear on what usage you allow with your images and make it easy for people to contact you. It's okay if people they share our images or pictures if we agree with that, but all we ask in return is like, okay, just put a link to my website so people know that's me that's building this product, it's me that's doing these pictures, and I want you to recognize that. That's all. And or wherever you can imprint your images in it. That means you have to put your name and copyright symbol plus maybe, for example, your website URL on every image. You don't have to obliterate the image, but put it in some place where it can be seen and not easily cropped without affecting the image. There's people that with, for example, Photoshop, they can do a lot of amazing stuff, so be careful about that. So, but most users of an image are not without malicious intent. It's not people stealing. It's just out of ignorance. Most of the people, they don't know that those pictures, they have copyrights, okay? With that, what we want to make sure is that if we create some content, we want to be recognized for that content. We are putting some effort on creating content, and effort also means money. So be sure that at least this effort, also as I said before, it comes back as traffic to your website and finally sales. Okay? And this interesting, for example, you can find out where your images are being used. For example, you can search Pinterest using Pinterest /source/ your website.com to find out what's being pinned about you. So you can also search Google Images, for example, to see if anyone has grabbed your images without asking you by following the steps discussed here. Also, you can see a website that's called TinyEye, which does a reverse search for your image. That's also quite interesting if you want to look at that. Okay. So back to the road. We have that content is king, but content alone it's not useful because content always have a context. Okay. We can define context as the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully assessed. That comes from the Google's Online Dictionary. So what exactly it means? In the world of online marketing, we could translate this into two broad angles. Basically, audience content and audience context and content context. So audience context is what circumstances surround the person who is engaging with on-site content, and content context is what circumstances surround the production, promotion, and position of on-site content. You have to answer these both questions. About the contents, one thing also to be really careful about is that timing is key. And time is also part of the context, because context is not only the audience that's watching us, where they are reading our, for example, if we are writing a blog post, context will be where they are reading it. They are reading in a website, they are reading it in a mobile phone. Some experts even, they really think when they are creating a strategy and they want to create content and they really think about context, what they do is like think, okay, this guy will be reading it from the metro, maybe from the bus, in a mobile device. So they really care about the whole context. And another thing, of course, is timing. If they are reading on the bus, maybe it's in the morning, maybe it's in the afternoon. People, they use content in different ways, in different times of the day. So they can be more visual in mornings. They can allow, for example, some more text in the morning because they are really not tired. They can read. That's okay. But when they just get out of their jobs, they really prefer the visual, not too much, all the context and all the text. That's what I say when I'm talking about timing. That's important. For example, there's little point creating an infographic about how many iPads were sold last Christmas in July, but that's like the big example, and that's obvious, of course. It's not the same. And for example, editorial content calendars will vary depending on audience and industry, but it's important to know what events and season matters to your target readers. We say that it's important to have a planning for all your content, and that means knowing your context. If you are in the world of fashion, if you are in the world of different kind of items, you have to know what's happening in your sector. If there's this big party, for example, going on, there's a showroom going on, it will affect what you publish, because you have to publish just after that happens. That's important. So, mind the gap. Because by considering our queen context in terms of where an audience is coming from and how it got there, as well as in terms of the content itself, online content creators can bolster the reception and engagement of their efforts. Basically, what we want to do is taking into account the context, the timing, what they are reading, what they are doing, just increase the engagement. So we want to reach the user at the best possible time and position so they can easily interact with us. So as I said before, if he's in the bus, don't expect like these big comments about what you're doing, but you can expect a like, a retweet, reblog, whatever. Back, let's meet people. So we have our platform, we have our basic directives about how can we drive traffic to a website using the content and the context. Both are really important. And people is really important. It's not, I don't like the word target. I don't like too much also the word user, because whenever you're doing business, whenever you're selling things, you are not selling, if you, for example, you are doing t-shirts, you're not selling t-shirts to a user. You're not selling t-shirts to a target, someone that you really don't know. Always you are selling to people. If you know that, people will react always better to other people than to marketing guys or marketing efforts. So that's where we get into networking, or maybe PR if you want. So depending on what you are doing, for example, if you are a professional selling your services because you can do, you are really a consultant, or you are an expert in finance, so you can help out people, I would recommend LinkedIn. As you may know, I think LinkedIn they have so far 259 million users right now, and they're adding 2 every second, something like that. Most important thing about LinkedIn that you have to be careful about, it's the seniority of the people on LinkedIn. Basically on LinkedIn you can have you can find marketing directors, you can have CTOs, CEOs, you can have high stakeholders. So the level of the people in LinkedIn usually it's really high. So all investors, entrepreneurs, this kind of people, they will be found on LinkedIn. Also, LinkedIn is a place for business, so don't even try to sell something like craft art on LinkedIn. I think it won't work, but well, if you want to try it, who knows. But then you can go to Behance. Behance, it's really good for that, because Behance it's the showroom for all the artists. It's a place to show your designs, your arts, and all the good things that you can do with different kind of tools. That you could do that. Also, if you want to meet people, I could recommend Instagram. There's a hashtag that's called Uyghurs inside Instagram. And they are really small communities, well, sometimes not that small, communities of people that share an interest about something inside Instagram. Usually, for example, they are Uyghurs about a city. I'm from Barcelona. There's the group of Uyghurs Barcelona. And usually they like monthly or something like that, they just meet up, all of them together, and they do pictures. So if you can have this community inside Instagram, it will be really a good place to find people and to network with other people like you. And finally, Twitter. Twitter at the beginning was really amazing place to communicate almost anything. Right now I think it's so crowded, it's really hard to get your head up inside the crowd and tell everyone what you're doing. There's too much people publishing a lot of things. So if you're going to use Twitter for networking, and it can be done, of course, but you have to be really good. Well, I think like in all the other tools. Okay, that's all so far. It took, I think, a little bit longer than expected, because it should be 40 minutes and then 20 minutes for questions. But now, if any of you have any questions, I will be glad to answer anything at all. No questions? Then thank you a lot, every one of you, to attend this webinar, and hope to see you soon in other webinars. Thanks. Bye.